doing today?
Yeah. Good, thank you. How are you?
Not as tilted from Black Mage as last week, last time. So you know, it's an improvement, I guess.
That's great.
Yeah. So you're playing Black Mage? Black Mage, nice. Battle Mage? Different
Yeah.
mage. How's that going for you? You enjoying that?
Yeah.
Okay. And what kind of the aspects of the playstyle, I guess, are you enjoying the most?
I like the summons
Mm-hmm.
and the teleport.
Okay. Is it specifically when you're mobbing or bossing, or do you like a healthy mix of both?
I do a healthy mix of both.
Mm-hmm. And is there?
Should I mute the stream?
Yeah, that's probably easier because you're gonna hear me twice the whole time.
Okay.
Unlike a delay, it's not gonna be. Right, you muted?
Yeah.
Okay, that should be better. Yeah, so you do a mix of both. And do you have any specific goals set for either one, or are you just chugging along?
I want to join a struggle Lucid party.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Wasn't the last person you did a session with also wanted to be struggle Lucid, I think? I think that's once you outgrow kind of Lotus and Damien, it's still a little bit of a wild wild west, right? Of how do you move on from here?
Yeah.
So you're looking for like a steady weekly party, or just like a struggle for now, just to get acquainted with the mechanics and stuff?
Just to get acquainted with the mechanics.
Mm-hmm. And have you tried any solo runs, like just easy Lucid, just gone in and kind of see what it looks like, or?
Yeah, but I couldn't really get past the first phase of easy Lucid.
Yeah, the golems tend to pile up after a while, right? And then, especially if you're more support class, like Bam.
Yeah.
And then it's just just the wall of golems, and then you're just kind of hitting a few times, dying to some dragon. Yeah, it doesn't really help. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So first of all, shout out to or like I guess call to action for people in the chat if anyone wants to do Lucid runs on NA reboot, right? Anyone need a BAM, or anyone want to do a struggle run? Hit him up. Anyone who sees it in the YouTube section. The Battle Mage. Okay, and do you have any other goals?
I want to get a perfect WSE.
Right. And do you know what that means specifically for your situation?
Not sure.
Or for your class, I guess. I guess generally battle mages probably go to a certain goal. I'm guessing no lines of IED, but I'm not 100% sure. Do you have IED in any of your the auras? Do you have IED in any of that?
I have weakening aura, which reduces the enemy defense by 20%.
That's a 20, right? Yeah. And is there also like a hyperstat that does some
Hyper skill?
Yes, hyper skill. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. With like extra
Not that I know
IED. Okay. It's mainly like shield duration and I guess empowerments of your basic attack, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you want to get perfect WSE, you know, whatever, but whatever that is, right? If it means 2 lines of boss and 7 lines of magic attack, or 1 line of ID or whatever, I guess that can fluctuate. So that's, but you want to have a really strong WSE, and you want to, for short term, you want to do struggle Lucid. And do you have like a long term goal set as well? Like, do you want to do Black Mage, or you want to do Seren, or are you just taking it one boss at a time?
I'll take it one boss at a time.
Okay. And you're by yourself, or do you have like other guild mates or friends you play with that you're like doing some content with, or?
I have other guild mates, yeah. But we rarely do content together.
And so they don't have like a Lucid party that you could possibly join. But is there maybe someone else in the same situation that you at least, you know, there's at least 2 of you to start with, or not that you know of?
Not that I know of.
Because usually it's hard to, you know, you can maybe fill a party sometime, right? But then if you're struggling or you're very new, then they might want someone who already has experience. So that's a little bit difficult. And it's also very hard to find all of the people for a party in one place. So typically it's good to kind of put your feelers out in a lot of different areas. Because if you can get like one person from the chat, one person from the guild, one person in Discord, and you guys megaphone and you find like one more person, well, suddenly you almost have a full party, right?
Yeah.
And that's usually I think that's the most realistic way of forming like your first few parties. But then once you have like a core of like 3 or 4 people who always want to run, as long as, you know, half of the people find someone, then you have a full party. So hopefully you can, because like leading the party and organizing and setting up a time and everything is pretty, it's pretty unfun, especially if runs aren't really going great, or, you know, there's a lot of moving around of people in the party, a lot of come and go of people. So it'd be nice if you have a party of peers who all kind of like take responsibility for the party, like to set it up. But yeah, so I guess if anyone is looking for a Lucid struggle, hit up the Battle Mage Whisper in game whenever whenever you're looking, I guess. Okay, so I have a sense. And so when it comes down to like playing, what kind of schedule do you like have? Are you like super 60-hour a week gamer, or is it more like just a little bit in the weekdays and mostly on weekends?
A little bit on the weekdays and mostly on weekends.
Mm-hmm. So you just have time to do dailies and a little bit of quests and events and stuff during the week, and then mostly grind and farm or whatever during the weekend?
Yeah.
And does that mean totem-wise that you usually don't finish up all your totems? Only like maybe like half of them or something?
Yeah.
And do you have any problems buying more totems, or do you find like you can afford everything that you can use?
I can afford everything I can use.
Okay, good. You know, because there's like extra means of getting reward points, right? If you ever need to scale up or anything like that with like Maple M and doing more monster collection, that kind of stuff. Are you aware of those on how to do all that?
I know how to do MapleStory M, but I'm not sure about monster collection.
Okay. Well, I do have a video on that under !RP. There you go. But basically, when you collect like a monster collection, you complete one. If you have a certain amount of monsters collected in total, you get like slots under the expedition tab, and then you can re-explore sets that you already completed. And then the better the set is, the longer the exploration takes, and the better the reward is. So you can do that to kind of like passively generate extra reward points and some extra, you know, there's like a low chance for some other stuff as well. And then basically you reset it every 6 or every 24 hours whenever you can, depending on the duration of the expedition. And like in that video, there's also a link to a guide on another website where they kind of go over what are the easiest like 24-hour sets to get, and how do you go about what are the easiest areas where you can get a lot of monsters added so you can get to the amount of expeditions, so you can do more expeditions at once. And if you pick that up every now and then and you do weekly bosses, and you know you do Maple M if you want to, then you should be able to max out on totems pretty easily if you ever want to scale up on more training, or you know you're like off work or off school, whatever, for extended duration and you want to go hard during an event or something.
Okay.
So it should help out. And I guess the next question will be because you know I just linked one of the commands. Like, are you familiar with the commands in my channel?
Yeah.
Would you say with all of them, or are there any where you have some additional questions?
I'm not sure how the ceiling works.
So when you talk about the seal, you talk about the ceiling in boss fights, or
locking the items.
Okay. That's that new feature, right, for in your inventory? To make sure that
Like
they
where you
don't
can't
move?
destroy the item or drop the item.
Okay. I think that's an NX item. Like item lock, I believe. Let me look. I think it's in Cash Up. Be grandiose if I would crash in Cash Up now. Oh, the audio from the game is still coming through. I think it's... Oh wait, maybe I can do item lock? Maybe I can Google that? I don't know. Or look that up. What if I put lock? Okay, hello, I was typing. Ah, okay. If you look for lock in the cash app, it looks like item guard, and then you can buy them for up to a year. Oh, the year one is NX, okay, and then the other ones 90 days. Those are all mesos. So this prevents. Double click the lock and choose a non-quest, non-locked item to prevent it from being vendor traded, exchanged, dropped, scrolled, or used by certain cache items. And then you cannot unseal it for the duration of the seal that's on it. Yeah, I usually don't do it, but I guess, yeah, sometimes I have gotten accidentally rid of something. Never of anything vital, but I've accidentally gotten rid of some things that I didn't want to before, yeah. So if that's something that you're you want to make absolutely sure that you don't do. You also can't Star Force. Yeah, I believe you cannot. I don't think you can cube either, right? I don't think you can just alter the stats in any way or have it be consumed or transfer hammer into it or transpose or any of that stuff. It's basically just. You see people cube it? Oh, okay. Huh, that's interesting.
Can you Star Force it?
No, someone says you cannot Star Force, but you can cube apparently.
Oh, okay.
I guess maybe Star Force counts as scrolling because you're kind of scrolling it with spell traces or something. You can't flame or Star Force or drop, but you can cube it. You can't Star Force because boom. Right. Okay. True. True. There's a chance to boom and you can't do that. You can't alter it like that. Okay.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense.
What should I Terror burn first?
So I guess we'll look at the Legion stuff, right? Look at what you have. Alright. Okay, that's coming along quite nicely. You got the ID and the crit damage filled, and you get enough crit rate to hit 100%, right? So you're moving into the crit rate boss damage. That looks really good. You've already got a whole lot. So are you familiar with the Legion and Lynx grid that I have? Where it has like the order of the for the value of your account. Because, I mean, you probably have most characters at this point, right? Because you have a lot of 130s in there. You're slowly getting those up to 140. So, yeah, when it comes to Terror Burn, I would look at, because there's so much value in going all the way up to 210, I would usually look at, I would kind of look past the double S Legion blocks that are good, and I would look to very good level 3 Link skills, or characters that you possibly want to play on the side, or bossing mules that you might want to make. Is that something that you're interested in?
Yeah, should I Terror burn the Demon Slayer, Luminous, or Angelic Buster first?
Yes, those are all three level 3 links, right? And let's see, like you have a Lumi now at 150, Demon Slayer 159, and is the AB a little bit further down? Or am I overlooking it? Are you like, are you trying to get any of these to also be a bossing mule, or would it be purely for the level 3 link?
Purely for the level 3 link.
Okay. Well, I would say that all three probably can do both, honestly.
Okay.
And yeah, like I did it already with Lumi, like the bosses, and I thought that she was Lumi was quite capable, I think. And the good thing about Demon Slayer and Lumi also is that they have their own bind. So when it comes to the bossing, that means that you you have basically you get an extra slot in the beginning of your V matrix, right? Which is big value in the beginning. Yeah, I haven't done AB yet, so I'm not 100% sure on the AB, and I'm not a huge I like and hate the Link skill for AB a lot because I pick it because I'm a burst class, so you're like, oh, that's so much extra damage, but a lot of the times it doesn't activate properly. Even if I smash it a bunch of times, it might be my ping. I'm guessing your ping is quite high as well, right?
Yeah.
So I've learned to not rely on that one too much, but both of them are like for maxing, for like min maxing on bosses. Do you feel like you're lacking damage percent or IED a little bit more, I guess? I guess we can look at your stats. ID's fine. Is that with ID familiars?
No, I don't. I only have them on my Kana.
Okay. All right. Oh, you have some ID right now on your emblem. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Honestly, it's oh, you get a lot of percentage damage as a battle mage in your burst, right? Most people have like 60% there now or something. Do you get extra from toggling that? Well, it used to be a single target skill, but the one that hits fewer targets.
Yeah, I think it's.
He's like
plus
40.
40%.
Yeah, 40%. Yeah, that's pretty good. Well, it would be interesting to see if with the extra IED and with some other IED that also goes on, that we might hit the threshold that you can redo your emblem, right? That could be interesting. So maybe the level 3 link for the Lumi could facilitate that. But I guess you have full superior, or yeah, you have full superior, right? At 30%. But you're not using IED familiars. So there could be room there if you get ID familiars and you go for the Lumi level 3 link, that you could roll out of the ID on the emblem and go for full magic attack.
Oh,
that way you'd still have enough. So that could be a cool upgrade to make. I have to look at all the other gear, of course, to make sure that that's like the next best thing. But that seems, ID wise at least, that seems like something that would be possible.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the DS can be made another time, or leveled up. I don't know. Are there any characters that you are that you're okay with leveling up the way they are?
I'm waiting for the bonk event. Or the level 200s.
Yeah. And then Night Lord and I guess Demon Slayer is a little bit closer. Yeah, Demon Slayer level 3 link is just really good, yeah. And do you just indiscriminately like bonk them all up, or are there some classes that you enjoy and that you might consider leveling the way they are?
I'm just bonking the ones that have the best legions.
So you're just looking at it purely functionally. There's no like single character that you played so far where you're like, this one I actually enjoy and I'll just level it. You're just trying to. It's just all business. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's a lot of classes, but I guess if BAM is the one that you like, I'm thinking if there's any class that's like similar to BAM in the way where like with the telecasting so fast. It is quite unique in that, right?
Yeah.
Especially with the teleport up, there's not many classes that fight like that.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of cool though, that there's so many classes, but it's still quite unique. That's I think that speaks to the design. Okay, and do you think it'll be an issue to get those ID familiars, or do you think it's okay?
What's the best way to get them?
Yeah, best is always depending on your situation. You're at 244, so you're pretty close to being able to go to Moonbridge, right? Have you looked into that? If that's a good area for you to go to?
I think so.
You're at over 1,000 arcane power, so that should be good. You're probably overkilling like crazy where areas where you are now, right? Are you in Celis, or are you in Sphera or something?
Celis.
Celis, okay. And Celis is not giving you any trouble, I assume.
No. I can one shot with my teleport.
Yeah, and it's in full drop and meso gear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not full drop gear though, just full meso.
Full meso, okay. And do you get the drop because of the spider, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That like bridges the gap between getting enough bags and getting more nodes and more cards. And yeah, so Moonbridge would drop cards. So as soon as you hit 245, you will be able to get a lot of cards just by training.
Oh, okay.
So I guess it would be a matter of just revealing all the ones that you get until you get 215% IEDs. And are you familiar with oh god, I hate how I always start the question with are you familiar with like the leveling up of the familiars, how that works? and the ranking them up?
A little bit.
So the leveling up is simple, right? You already see that yours are leveled up. It's because you have them equipped when you're killing monsters. So that part is pretty easy. You just have them summoned, kill monsters in your level, boom, they level. But the other thing is that you also have to fill them up. So you see that little gem on the bottom of the card? That one has to go all the way to the right, and then the bar will be yellow, I think. That means it's all full. In order to do that, you have to fuse the same familiar as that one onto it. And the higher the rarity of the card that you fuse onto it, the more points that it gets per fusing. So once that bar is all the way full and the level is maxed, then you can attempt to rank them up. And if it succeeds, they go to the next rank. Their familiar potentials are completely reset, and then you can reveal them again. If it fails, the yellow bar for fusing goes down 50%, and you have to fill it up again with cards to max it, and then you can try again. You can just, there's no cooldown on that or something, you can spam that. But from rare to epic, there's a pretty decent chance. So you always want to take rare cards, throw a bunch of commons and other rares into it, and then try to make epics, basically.
Okay.
So the best way to do that, if by Moonbridge, so like ideal scenario, right? By Moonbridge, if you can get 10 total badges so that you can unlock your third slot, then you can have your spider in one slot and then 2 of the familiars that you're leveling up in the other slot, so you can level 2 at a time, and that way you can produce more epic cards. Because epic is really good because you get large amount of drop rate, right, for up to 100%. And you can get large healing, you can get larger chunks of IED, you can get boss damage familiars, and that's when they really help. He has a green book, yeah, true. Grumpy toe. How are you on the badges? Are you eligible on that? I guess it's kind of like Monster Collection, but slightly different. You're looking 4 badges, okay. Yeah, so if you check the familiar guide, I'll link you that one. Basically on the bottom there's some advice and some resources, basically what we just went over, but there's also a link to like which badges are the easiest to get, and all the potential lines that you're looking for. But in the beginning you'll probably just make as many epics as possible. So maybe 1 at a time in the beginning, and then maybe 2. If you get a lot of cards, and because you're doing some crazy training or something, and your whole inventory is full of cards, then you can also consider making some uniques. Uniques needs more points to fuse and has a higher chance of failure. But of course, the top line is unique, which can be even better, and then the bottom line is epic, which is still a good chance of some good lines. So that's something to consider if you find yourself just overflowing with familiar cards. Yeah, so I assume you have most of them in the S tier, right? You've got like Mineral, Rebel, Oppressor, probably those.
I have Scardor, Snowflake, Oppressor, and Mineral.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So Rebel is pretty easy, and Lion Badge, those are pretty easy. But yeah, from then on it gets a bit harder, but like you should have access to Ocean and Swamp, right? That's probably not too bad. Plus these give pretty nice buffs. So those are the Morasinous Pharaoh ones. And then once you get to, is it Void Badge? Once you get to Moonbridge? Yeah, Void Badge. So if you can get all of those, then you'll be at 9. And then you just have to get one of the other ones that are a little bit harder to do. Some people go for the Sandy Badge. That one isn't too bad because there's only one boss, I believe, in that set. And the boss spawns like at 3 different spots. So if you CC around, you can kill quite a lot of him and get a pretty decent chance at getting him. I think it's like Dio. I think is the only boss in that set. Let me double check. Sandy. Yeah, it's only. Oh no, yeah. Desert Giant is a regular monster. Yeah, it's only Dio. So that should be a pretty doable one as well. And in general, it's a good idea to get the Ocean Badge, because the Ocean Badge is 1% damage, 1% crit rate. That's pretty good. Yeah, we're getting a little bit into like the min-maxing weeds here, right? But there is definitely something to gain there. And oh, I don't even have the Swamp Badge here apparently. That one is 1% all stat and 2 attack. Yeah, so that one isn't as good. But the Moonbridge one will be nice because it's 1% magic attack and 2 attack. So that's pretty cool. One other one mages sometimes go for to min max is the is it the wave badge? Yeah, the wave badge from Aqua, but that one is pretty tricky because you need Seraph, and Seraph's drop rate is insanely low. So sometimes if people get lucky from booster packs or something, then you can go for the set. But until you get Seraph, the whole set is basically on lock.
Okay.
Yeah. Kind of like the Clockwork badge one, right? If you can get a drop from Papalatus, then that's a very easy complete as well. But as long as you don't have that one, then you know there's no point in going for all the other ones.
Okay.
All right. So does everything with familiars seem? Does that make sense? What to go for?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Good. And for Terraburn, that question was for your now Terraburn, right? And then for the next one, you'll just pick one of the other two, I guess.
Yeah.
Are you working on Lara as well, or is that something you're not concerned with?
I'm working on Lara for the Legion.
Right. Yeah. And she has some good rewards as well, right?
Yeah.
Are you do you also have any kind of plan with the Absolute boxes? Because there's going to be two, right? One from Terraburn and one from Lara.
Not really.
Not really. Okay. Because what I could link that with, if there's any characters that you're okay with just leveling as they are, then you could consider giving them the Absolute weapon, right? So that you can actually train them up by themselves quite faster, and then you don't have to wait for bonking or wait for Terraburns and stuff to get those extra levels. But I guess that's if you're really trying to make that push towards all the level 3 links or towards 8k more, right? So it could be something that you consider for that. I've got the Kana as well. Do you play the Kana a lot, by the way?
Not as much.
Mm-hmm. Is it there just, because it was easy levels, or did you also kind of have it as a side? Because I think it has Absolute gloves, right? Yeah. So did you do some bosses with it?
I want to have it as a bossing mule in the future.
I see. But that one's like taken care of, like how to get to that point, right? Because it's not going to get to the point where the battle mage is now. It's not going to go quite that high up.
No.
Okay. Okay, good. I see a lot of blue dots on the Legion, so you got a lot of intellect in there. That's always nice being a mage, right? You got a lot of member intellect.
Yeah.
That adds up quite nicely, and it helps your Kana and the battle mage both. So that's a nice double win. Okay. Well, I guess we can scroll down to the next thing. When it comes to link skills, did you have any questions there?
Do you know if the Lara link skill has 100% uptime?
I believe so, yeah. For mobbing, right? Yeah, for bossing, I don't think it does much of anything, but for mobbing, I believe it does, yeah.
Okay.
Let me double check just to be sure. Whoop. Yeah, it works for 30 seconds and has a reactivation cooldown of 30 seconds. So basically just, as soon as it runs out, it reactivates. But yeah, when it comes to mobbing, it's probably best in slot. But yeah, for bossing, it's just completely useless.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else? I guess you're good on crit rate.
Does reaching level 245 and 250 reduce the amount of dailies for Morris and Asphera?
Yes, it does, yeah. As long as you have the pre-quests in the new areas done.
Okay.
Just like before, yeah. You have to go through the whole storyline and stuff, and then it will speed the other one up, yeah. Which is, that's good to know because of the new dailies that are coming, right? Because I heard that they're not particularly fun, and you have to do it all solo, so if you can, cut down on those, that would probably be nice to just speed it up, just to get those symbols a little bit faster.
Yeah.
I guess speaking of symbols, how are you doing with that? You feel like you're on pace with everything? Because you had 1,000,
I'm not sure
right?
how to mimic the symbols.
Okay, so you don't have a picture of them specifically. Do you know what levels all your symbols are right now? What is it with everything?
I think I have a picture somewhere at the bottom.
maybe I scrolled past it. Oh, here. Yeah. 17, 19, 30. Oh, yeah. Okay. I guess you used event stuff to level up the Morass and Asphera a bit more, right? Because they caught up to the other ones a bit. Yeah. Do you typically do your dailies for symbols?
Not really.
Okay. Well, they're at pretty healthy levels for your level, but maybe you're also not leveling very fast. That way, it kind of compensates.
Yeah, I was going to wait for the celestial event to upgrade symbols.
Mm-hmm. For something crazy. Yeah, I mean, yeah. When it comes to how much time you have throughout the week, I guess if on a weekday, if you don't do the symbol dailies, what other dailies do you do? Maybe we can kind of see if there's some other ones that are maybe a little bit less priority that we can trade them in for.
I do the pink bean subscriber daily.
Mm-hmm. But while you're doing that, you're killing monsters, right? Do you combine it with also doing the dailies?
No.
Oh yeah. So that's usually what I would do, because then you can just start that daily and then kill the monsters, and at least for your 245, so probably for at least 3 areas, maybe 4 areas, the monsters that you're killing for the daily quest also count for that. So then you're doing 2 birds in 1 stone. So that's usually how I do the content, because yeah, I'm not all about trying to do everything either. So if I can double dip like that, that's usually what I try to do.
Okay. I do Ursus.
Mm-hmm.
Maple Tour. Monster Park. Daily Gift.
Mm-hmm.
And Legion.
And Legion, yeah.
And sometimes I do the daily bosses for the reward points.
Right, yeah. If you know that you're a little bit short and you want to get a totem done that weekend, then you do a little bit more daily bosses.
Yeah. I also do MapleStory M dailies.
Right. Do you do that, like, because I was talking to someone else, do you do that on your phone or do you do it on your computer?
I do it on my phone.
Okay, yeah. Because I always did it on my computer while I was playing, because you can do like with an emulator, right? You can like install on your computer and then just run it there so that your phone doesn't get occupied. I don't know if that would help you out or not.
Yeah, I think that would help.
I
do have an emulator, yeah.
Oh yeah, you have one, yeah. Because I think how does it work again? You like link it with your Google account or something, and then I think it just like spoofs your phone, or like, what's the term? It like ghosts it or whatever. Yeah, I found that easier because just it's on the same device, because you're already playing MapleStory on the PC as well, so it's like easier to tab and double check. MapleStory M on BlueStacks? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I ran it on BlueStacks. I tried Nox first, but it didn't really work well for me, and then I tried BlueStacks and that worked pretty much perfectly. So some other people have said that BlueStacks didn't work well for them, and then Nox did. So whatever works for you.
What's better, Zakum Eye accessory or the Black Bean mark?
Yeah, I guess the main thing is if the Star Force is pretty low and you're not spending a lot of money on it, it usually just comes down to what kind of potential it gets, and then that determines the role it gets, right? So if you end up getting item drop or Mesobtain, then that just becomes the purpose, and then you kind of just stop there. Or if it gets a bunch of damage, then you can invest a little bit more into the Flame and into the Star Force to make sure that it can be like a damage piece for a while. But in the stage of the game where you're at, because you want to explore all the options. So you have a monocle, and you have, when it comes to bossing, you're using the full superior boss set, right? So that means that there's not too many pieces left that can give you set bonus from the boss accessory set. So at that point, whether you use the the Zakum Eye probably at that point is losing its functionality because of the Star Force limitations. It has Flame Advantage, that's nice, and it can get a little bit of set bonus, but it cannot get all of those big bonus stats from going higher Star Force. So usually at that point, if it's already legendary, it just gets relegated to purely being a drop or meso piece. And then if you want to go purely on damage, it's either Monocle or the Black Bean mark. And that usually depends on how keen you are on doing the dailies, like Commercy dailies. If you're not too keen on that, it's actually fine to just, stock up Black Bean marks and just try to push the Black Bean marks to 17 and beyond, Star Force wise. But if you, because it goes all the way up to 20, right? So it kind of goes, if you're very min-maxy, you know, you're okay with doing all the dailies, you're trying to get to 22 stars eventually, then you can kind of just skip the black beam mark there and go straight for the monocle. But if you're okay with, you know, being on 17 for a while, maybe being 19 is like okay for you. And you know, you're okay with staying on that until you get like a pap mark to transpose into a monocle and then go hard on a monocle, because by then you'll have a bunch of dineros. Then you're fine to just use a black beam mark as the damage piece and then use the Zakumai as the drop or meso piece.
Okay.
Does that clear all of that up, like the positioning of the pieces?
Yeah.
Okay.
What should I cube first?
Yeah, so the emblem I think is probably high up, but I'll look at all the other pieces first, right? So you said you have full meso, but you don't have full drop when you're training. So like five lines of
drop.
Yeah, sorry. Go on.
I have 100 drop.
Right, okay. Yeah.
With the familiar, and 40% from the items.
Right. So 2-line drop on equips and 5-line meso on equips.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then 2 of the accessories are just full damage ones.
I don't have full damage accessories yet.
Right. Yeah. Because you're at a mixed situation right now. Yeah. So so you have 9 total accessories, right? So what are the last 2 that you would use when you're mobbing? So you use use the Dominator Pendant with the crit rate, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then meso on the earring, and then the drop rate on the superior. So you use a superior ring. That one doesn't have item or drop, right?
No.
And then the eye accessory, right?
Yeah.
Those would be the 2 that are missing a line. Yeah. So honestly, at this point, when it comes to cubing, so since the IA is already legendary, I would cube that one first, like by far, and try to get drop or meso, and possibly a line of intellect with it if possible. But I would focus on just getting drop or meso.
Okay.
So if you get meso, I guess one other piece that has meso can be re-rolled, and since you're in a mixed situation. But because most of your stuff is already 17, most of your stuff is legendary, this is really the point where you want to make distinct damage gear and bossing gear, because the bosses are going to be harder and harder. Plus, a lot of the pieces, if you get a lot more of your damage is going to come from your symbols. For your boost nodes are going to be closer to maxed, right? I didn't check your matrix yet, but I'm assuming that I guess we can. Is it okay if we go back to that? We go into the matrix just a little bit first.
Yeah, it's okay.
Do you have any questions regarding the matrix, like with maxing which skills and stuff, or does it all make sense?
I'm not sure whether Battle Burst is a good node.
Yeah, because I think you do like 3 boost nodes and you pick 1 to just boost 1 time, right? Finishing blow. Yeah, battle burst or dark chain, but that's more. Yeah, that's like a filler on the second boost node. It looks like. Yeah, I guess it's just to have something on there that does anything, but it's not really important what that last one is.
Okay.
Are you still looking for that 4th boost node?
Not really.
Because now you have. Oh wait, you have 3. Oh yeah, because you got it on 3, so that you have condemnation, finishing blow, and dark shock maxed, right?
Yeah.
Like it looks here, the situation you want eventually is a setup where you have 2 boost nodes, and the 2 of them together max out finishing blow, dark shock, and condemnation, and then you have a second set of trios, so 2 more that max out Dark Genesis and Sweeping Staff, and then as a third you can use Battle Burst or Dark Chain, but usually it's recommended to use Battle Burst there as a third one. So you might, and your boost nodes are like around level 20, so you might be in a position now where it's a good idea to start moving them around a little bit. So I guess so one thing I see is that I think you're leveling up a lot of your slots a little bit, right? because I see some with like silver borders. Usually it's a better idea to just go one slot at a time, max them up to level 5, and then go to the next one. Because it helps you get a clear like prioritization of which skills need to be where, and then those get like all of the attention they need. So like for the boost nodes, those are most important to put in, right? And then it's your most important damaging skills, and then probably after that it's probably the bind, because of the stupid cooldown is way too long, and the holy symbol, right, because of extra drop rate and extra exp. That's what I would prioritize. But it's so just as like you're like at a crossroads now, switching to getting distinct drop rate and drop and meso gear and then damage gear, separating those out a little bit more. In the same way, you want to get to the point where you now specifically go into the boost nodes that will be the ones that get maxed out eventually, and not have too much bleed over, because right now like you have level 60 on one, but it's not actually level 60, it's level 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 something, right? 73 or something. So there's some loss there that could be leveling up another skill, which might help you one shot more in mobbing, but definitely will increase your damage on bosses a little bit if you throw the skills in there. Because I think, man, I haven't played Battle Mage in a while, but don't you use Dark Genesis for some skill effects or something? Yeah, so every time you use it, that's going to get it significantly more damage, right? Hopefully you can get up to like 120% bonus damage on that. Yeah. Or final damage, I should say, yeah. So it's going to be a good idea. So you have one that starts with all of those 3 top skills. So you won't have the trio specifically split up like it does on the list here, but that's fine, because I think you're going to be using all 4 all the time anyway. Because I guess in short term that means like if you're mobbing, you take out the Urdanova, and then if you're bossing, you technically what you can do is you take out the holy symbol, and then you replace one of your boost nodes with holy symbol near the end if you want to get the extra drop rate. That would be your option now. Or when you level, you get an extra slot as well, right? So then you can immediately keep them in. Yeah, so you want to look for the perfect trios, right? You know how that works with like finding the new trios, enhancing the new level 1 nodes with the existing ones. You can transfer all the experience, right? Yeah. So it's mainly going to be a matter of just like opening a bunch of nodes and keeping all the nodes that start with those 6 skills here, and then until you find the perfect 4, and then transfer them over, and then recommit. So until then, I would not craft extra nodes. I would just save up node shards, basically.
What skills should I upgrade first?
So I believe, didn't your Abyssal Lightning just get like a pretty big buff? I believe that's a huge part of your burst. The Abyssal Lightning. So typically, I think Holy Symbol generally gets some love in the beginning, because you want to get the EXP up, you want to train faster, you want to get more drop rate from more nodes, from more monster cards, and all of that, right? It spreads into your general progression for your account. So I think it's an okay idea getting that one up to like level 12, 13, 14, 15, around there. Not all the way up to 25, right? That's for people who have like 5,000 nodes lying around, and they go onto a new character and they immediately max everything. But I think it's okay to get it like, on the way on like 14, 15, basically, where the other, the skill next to it is. I forget the name, the one with the, well, I was going to say the one with the Grim Reaper on it, but they all kind of have that. What is this skill called? Altar of Annihilation. Yeah, that one. Like around that level, but I think you can like evenly bring up Abyssal Lightning in that one, because when it comes definitely to wanting to do more bossing, because I think mobbing wise you're probably fine, right? Especially if we get the boost node situation figured out and everything. A little bit, speeding up again or picking back up the symbol dailies a little bit by combining them with the other dailies. And we'll talk about recubing and everything. Union Aura is greater than Abyssal than other 2. Oh, Union Aura is more important. I see. But that one's already level 21, so I think that one's good. I don't know. It's kind of like me, because if you're still opening more nodes, slowly you'll still level skills. So I usually don't like maxing skills all the way up to 25. I usually like to keep them at like 22 or 23, maybe at the most, because eventually they'll get more skills by opening up, and then you don't lose efficiency on those later node zones you open up, right? So I think the Union Aura is already pretty good at level 21. So I think Abyssal and Holy Symbol are the next skill nodes to level up.
Okay.
Yeah. You also have like a lot of nodes, I think, still left here on the bottom, right? So decent Mystic Door is definitely one that you can get rid of.
Okay.
There's not any use for that, and there's nothing in KMS that even looks like that's going to be useful, because you just have a teleport rock always anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's no hidden tech with that or anything. If you have Hyper Body, you can get rid of that one too.
Okay.
And then yeah, you have some leftover, like yeah, for the rope lift, some people use it later on for extra bonus stats once they have like a lot of slots, because it does give one all stat per level. So if you get it to level 30, you get level 30. If you have Blink, or what's the other one you might have? Blink or Urda's Will, you can level those up in itself. Those will become way more useful later on for bossing. When bosses become more hairy, you can actually start using them to get out of situations. Now for the Black Mage, for example, what that I'm doing, they're very, very useful. If I can give you one tip, is start using them earlier and get used to using them, not when you're starting the Black Mage, because it's really difficult to start using them on the fly. It's better to have them, you know, as part of your arsenal already, so you can just dip into them.
Okay. You mean Blink?
Yeah, Blink and Blink, Rope Lift, and Will of Urda. All of those you can just level up if you have a bunch of those. That way you can condense a little bit, right? Because I see you have a lot of dots on the bottom, so you probably have a lot of unopened or unused nodes at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you have decent combat orders, you can level that up on itself as well. That'll eventually become useful. But it's a little bit lower priority for sure. And have you ever used Ethereal Form in bosses?
No.
Okay. Because it's not really an iframe, but kind of like an iframe, right? Because it very heavily reduces the damage that you take by a large percentage, and has a pretty short cooldown. So if you run into harder bosses, and definitely with Lucid, that's going to happen. That's going to be a useful tool for survivability. So that'll be something that'll be useful to use, especially in the beginning. It might be important because you're more of a support to maybe go down a little bit on the damaging skills and a little bit higher on the survivability skills to make sure that you can survive the runs. And then as you get better and better and better at surviving and recognizing the situations where, you know, you can actually just survive, or you can pop your shield and just tank things, then it'll be a better idea to go a little bit harder on the damage then. Are there any other nodes that you have any questions on?
Is the spider node good?
It's strong, yeah. So for mobbing, it's I think it's a 40-second summon, and it does a lot of damage. Even at level 1, it's very strong. So for mobbing, you could consider using that, yeah. I don't know if you probably don't use Unity much when you're mobbing, right? Or do you? Do you cycle between that?
No.
I guess depending on your rotation, you might. I guess if you get strong enough, you might put it in for a... If you get strong enough and Dark Genesis and Sweeping Stuff kill anyway when you're mobbing, then you could also swap it in for one of those boost nodes. Because, yeah, for both mobbing and bossing, it'll be... Even at level 1, so like for comparison, if you do like your battle analysis, right, and you summon the spider, usually on like a 40-second BA, even at level 1, the spider is like around 3% of your around 3% of all of your damage. Yeah. So that's significant enough to use, I would say. Especially because you can pop it before and kind of forget about it, and it does this thing on its own, right? And you said you like summon, so... And it's also a little bit dark and spooky, so it fits the theme.
Yeah.
Did you, I guess as a side question, did you find it useful that you could use the what's called Altar of Annihilation with like the down arrow key, so it sets it up automatically. Do you find yourself using that?
It was quite helpful.
Okay. Yeah, because I used it when I was doing Project CRA because, of course, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and there was already so much going on, plus all of the shiny skill effects and trying to dodge everything. So I found it useful to just plop them down and then not having to worry too much about the positioning, because it's quite hard to position them properly because it has to be a certain distance apart and it has to be in the same direction, right, as the last one. So you can't really summon them out of order and stuff. It's kind of limited, so I like just doing like down summon and then kind of forget about it. Best quality of life change ever. I like that kind of utility. They did it with like the wild hunters as well to give them more options on their big ultimate, which is Stark Aura. Yeah, we got the party shield. Black Beam Mark. Do you still use the old evolving maximizer ball to boss, or is that one just kind of retired at this point?
It's retired.
Yeah. But it's, yeah, you just showed it because it's an option. Maybe it could be useful for something. Yeah. Oh, it does look really clean. Yeah. You also wait. Do you also use green pots? Because I don't see them in this screenshot.
I use green pots, but I didn't use it.
Right, because that was just a range picture, and then you would have to waste a green green pot for something that doesn't show up on the stats. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, 21. Okay. Did you have any other questions for the Matrix?
No.
Okay. Cool. So we can go back to what we were talking about. We were talking about the accessories, right?
Yeah.
And what to cube next. So I would start looking specifically, making like a list of which 9 pieces are you going to wear when you're mobbing, which 9 pieces are you going to wear when you're bossing, and starting to split up between those two and start cubing accordingly. So like I mentioned the emblem for cubing, but that one is a little bit later because you have to get those ID familiars first, right? You don't want to get out of the 30% ID now because you would take a hit in damage, especially on the harder bosses like Lucid that you're trying to do. So for the short term, it would be setting those 9, those 2 sets of 9 accessories, and then once you get the ID, and you know, once you have that all sorted out, then you can go to the emblem, and then hopefully the ID is settled then, and then you can go full magic attack there. So do you need help like setting the list of the 9 accessories? What would make sense? Do you have any unique, or because you showed below here? Oh, yeah, you have some epic. Okay, and you have some of these. Okay, so what's your idea right now? Like which 9 would you see being like the drop or mezzo ones? Because it will involve some re-rolling, right? You will have to move away because the superior you want to have definitely be full of sort of damage, right? So we can start there. Like for damage, so you definitely want to have all of the superior pieces. So that means compared to now that you would lose 1 drop and 1 mezzo, because the earring and the pendant. And I guess the Dominator pendant for now would be part of the damage set. Are you relying on the crit completely for the pendant and the weapon, by the way?
Yeah, but I think I can swap it for hyperstat.
Oh, did you leave the hyperstat at 0? Oh no, you have it at 10, right? Yeah. You mean for the right, for the single target skill gives like crit rate. Is that a thing? Yeah. Wait, how much does that give? Is that 20%?
It's 20%, yeah.
I see. Okay, yeah, so you get to the point where you get to 80% unbuffed, and then for bossing you use that skill, and then for mobbing you can use the Phantom Link?
Yeah.
Exactly, okay. Okay, so that's the continuancy there. Okay, that's good. Yeah, so generally priority, right, because we went right into the accessory, generally the priority is weapon secondary, emblem first, and you have them rightfully so as pictures right above, like first. But like the weapon, you know, you have intellect, you have damage, you have tier 6 magic attack, and it has set potential. Like we're not touching that for a while, right? The emblem, we want to do the ID first, and then we're not touching that. And the weapon, the secondary is 21% magic attack. You know, there is room for improvement there, but that's very expensive, so that's lower priority. So that's why I moved on from that, just to clarify for everyone, like, why isn't he doing WSE? Because I think we kind of, yeah, we don't need to at this very moment, right? Yeah, and after that it would be the accessories. So yeah, for boss, we're looking at the Dominator pendant probably for now. Do you have any Dominator pendant that you got as drops? Okay. Are you doing normal Arcarium? Because you didn't mention normal Arcarium in the dailies. Is this something that you could add on to your dailies?
Yeah, I could.
Because I assume with drop rate gear, you just completely blow them up, right? There's no contest there. Just don't let them do... Okay. If you haven't done it at all, you need to do the pre-quest for the Silent Crusade. And basically the Silent Crusade just takes you through the whole storyline, and you basically go to the temple in Arcarium and defeat like his ghost, and then you talk to the NPC a few more times, and then after that you can fight him as a regular boss on daily. He has like a gimmick where if you do a certain amount of damage to him, he can do like a full screen like one shot. It's not a one shot, it's like it does like 1000% damage. Like even with your shield you will just get wrecked. So the best thing is just to wait until he doesn't attack, and then just bind him and then burst him, and then he'll die. He'll die very quickly. Yeah, let me push you a little bit. Yeah, but because that's a chance for primal essences, which you'll need later if you want to make Meister rings. And yeah, that'll come in much later. So the sooner you start doing that as a daily, that's gonna be good. And you want Dominator backups. Right now, it would be cool to get a Dominator to 7, if you can, to 16 stars, so that you can transpose into the Sweetwater pendant, and then that'll be your second pendant for damage together with the Superior. So that'll replace the current crit rate Dominator. Are you familiar with transposing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be like the next step for damage. But for now, we can just use this one. So it'll be this Dominator into 16-star good flame score transpose into Sweetwater, and that'll be your ultimate like damage pendant. Are you familiar with flame scores and how that works?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so typically people look at like around 110, 115 flame score. Some people aim higher, some people aim a little bit on the lower end. Closer to 105 is also pretty good. It just depends on, how min-max you are and how much money you want to throw at it, basically, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and then transpose. Yeah, so then that's set up for those pieces. So then you have the pendants, and we have the earring, and then I guess eye and face wise, you have the Sweetwater monocle, and then you have the Black Bee mark, right? Since the monocle's already got Star Force and it's already, epic and 3-line and everything, we can just continue with the monocle. It'll be easier to just get, well, we're all getting to 17-point star anyway, right? So you don't need to, or the point of 17 star, I mean. So you don't have to, you could just safeguard, you don't have to like risk booms and all that stuff. So that'll be pretty straightforward. But I guess the thing is, like, ideally you do that one for damage, right? The Sweetwater monocle. And then the current eye, because it's already legendary, the current Zakum eye, that one can go for drop or mezzo, whatever happens. I guess you want drop, right? Because you already have enough mezzo.
Yeah. So should I remove mezzo and drop on all the superior accessories?
Yeah, I think that'll be the first step. I would say the first step is to fill that demand for drop and mezzo on other pieces first, and then once you have that, then you switch the superior stuff, so that you don't get left like in between, where your damage gear is better now, but now your training gear is worse, because you need your training gear to be better first, so that you can make money, so that you can upgrade your damage gear, right? The other way around. So first you want to make sure that the drop set is completed. But I guess now we're just making the list of what will go into damage, what will go into drop, so that we know which pieces we're going to be working on. Yeah, so, okay, so, and then the eye, you have a tattoo, right? The face, I mean, sorry, you have a tattoo with drop rate. And would you be able to buy a second tattoo, or do you have any other face accessory that has higher tier potential?
Not sure.
Because I can look in the background in your inventory, but I don't see... You never, like, upgraded the condensed power crystal, the Zakum face in the past? Or maybe it's, like, epic or something.
Yeah, it's epic.
Yeah. Well, if you buy a new tattoo, that comes as epic as well, right? Plus, it'll have the advantage... Like, it has a disadvantage for not having the set bonus, and for not having the... not having the flame advantage, but we already have a item drop one, so we're looking for a damage one. So when it comes to damage, we want that one with higher potential for growth when it comes to the Star Force, right? That'll overpower the lack of set bonus and the lack of flame advantage. So if you can get another tattoo, again, this will be after we have our full drop rate and meso set completed. Then a new tattoo will come into place, and then I guess, you know, we have the DMT coming up, right? Or, you know, most likely, you know, not 100% guaranteed, but, you know, caveats. There'll probably be a good time to see if you can get the... all the drop in the meso gear should be done, right? And then you can make sure that you can keep making like a decent amount of money when you're training, especially in Moonbridge. And then with that money on the DMT, you can make sure that everything gets up to legendary for the damage set, and that everything gets re-rolled there into some nice stats.
Okay. So I get another tattoo for mesos?
Well, because you already have one for drop, I would get another one for damage and see if we can make the damage, the drop and meso work with what we currently have.
Okay.
Yeah, I would avoid having like 3 pieces, like one for damage, one for drop, and one for meso. You can do that eventually, but you'll do that much later when you basically want to min-max boss drops. You'll look at all the pieces that you have that have meso drop and find a backup for those and get a piece for drop rate instead, so that you can have like 9 accessories with drop. Hopefully one gets double drop by then, so you can have the 10 lines, which is the max for drop rate from equips, and then you can optimize boss drops, so you can get more nodes, more flames, more soul shards, right? That kind of stuff. But that's like a step later usually. That's when everything else is already pretty much more upgraded. That'll be after everything is 17. After the emblem is done, and probably after your CRA is gone like over 17, like probably 19 or even 21. That's usually when you start considering that. Or if you have a bunch of legendary accessories already lying around, and it's just a matter of throwing some cubes on, but you're not quite in that situation. Okay, and then we just need the rings, right? So at this point... How many rings do we have? We have 8 rings, right? So that's a good situation to be in. Plus we have reinforced could come in for damage. Plus we have the option for kind of treasure ring, right? Did you get any of those? Did you do Princess No before?
No.
Okay, so that's a weekly boss that can drop the kind of treasure ring. And that's level 140 ring. So you have 1 chance every week. A decent chance, I would say, and the more drop rate you have, the better. So that's another one where that drop rate will be useful. And then combined, you know, with the drop rate coupon and with the spider, there's an okay chance. And that's also similar to the Dominator Pendant that we talked about from Arcarium. That's a good one to just do as often as you can, so just once a week. And then, because if you can build up rings, you kind of want a lot of rings, because you want to get a kind of treasure ring that's good, and especially, you know, once you go past 17, chance to boom, so you need backups. But also for the superior, you don't want to have to buy a bunch of superior rings from the Golok shop, right? Because it's very expensive. So ideally, you want to get a second kind of treasure ring, the high Star Force, and then transfer it into the superior, so you don't have to risk booming the superior, but still get a high Star Force superior.
So kind of treasure is damage?
Yeah, so that one will become damage, but I think for the short term, we'll use the other rings that we have, right? So I think for short term, it's probably best to use, and you're a battle mage, so it's probably best to use the Superior Golux ring, and to roll the reinforced, because the reinforce will eventually get to 17 and will overpower the event rings. Plus, the event rings already have drop and meso, or like mainly meso on them. So if you don't have to touch them, that's better, right? That saves us a lot of money in the short term. So we'll do superior and reinforced. And then basically, yeah, because you have another meso here, I would just work on the other two. So here's like the ideal thing, right? Ideally, so first step is 5 lines of meso, 4 lines of drop, right? The second step is, and then, 9 with damage, right? Or at least 2 lines of intellect. And then the second step for the meso and the drop, because, those rings are typically, or the items are typically a little bit weaker, lower level stuff with some set bonus, but not very strong. So ideally, to keep up your strength, you want to also get a line of intellect on all of them, because it's 9 equips, 9% intellect 9 times, that's 81% intellect. That's a big chunk of damage to help you keep killing, right? So what we'll do is we'll basically work on some of the equips. If we hit a lot of intellect, it'll just become a damage item for now, even if it's not ideal. If it hits drop or meso with intellect, then you look at another item that also has whatever line you rolled, whether it is drop or meso, but that doesn't have intellect, and then you re-roll that one to like fix the 5 meso 4 drop set. And hopefully in that way, more of your items will get a line of intellect, because right now not too many of them have it, right? Because I think none of your rings have any lines of intellect on them, so that's already like a 36% intellect that we're kind of losing there. So that's unfortunate. So I would fix that drop and meso set first. If you roll, there's also the chance, of course, you roll your superior and you roll like drop and meso on it or something, and then you're like, okay, then you can re-roll another ring for damage instead, right? So at this point, it's mainly just important that whatever potential you get on the item, and specifically on the rings, because there's so many of them, that the potential determines what roll it gets. So if you're rolling, right, let's say you roll the Silver Blossom ring and it rolls like 27% intellect or something. Well, now that's a damage ring, right? And then you use that one together with the reinforced and the superior. And let's say you roll the reinforced and it gets 2 lines of drop rate. Oh, okay. Well, now that's a drop rate ring. So that means now you can reroll other stuff that has drop rate. So that means probably on the eye, you'll be looking for meso, and then if it gets meso, then you'll re-roll a ring that has meso but doesn't have intellect, and try to get drop rate and intellect on that to fix the set, basically. So you always want to go back to 5 with meso, 4 with drop, or, if you roll anything with double lines, you do 5 with meso, 5 with drop, or 5 with meso, 6 with drop, if you get double line appearances.
What should I spend my black cubes on and red cubes on?
Did you buy a bunch during the sale?
I have 930 red cubes.
Mm-hmm. Was it like
30 black cubes.
30 black cubes, okay. I think that's a really good situation to be in. I would hold the black cubes until the DMT to get stuff to legendary. Like the other tattoo, and maybe the other ring, right? Because you have like a Cosmos ring that you probably want. Oh, you're probably not going to do the Cosmos ring, right? You want to hold off for the event ring?
Not sure.
Because there's an event ring coming, right? That's a stronger ring. Plus, there's also if you're participating in the event, there's also a legendary scroll for event ring. So you can get it straight up to legendary for free, basically. So that'll be your 8th ring, I think. So you can kind of leave the Cosmos ring where it is now. Yeah, because that shouldn't take all too long to get there. And you can get the meso set before, and then you'll probably get one ring that is going to be part of both situations for now. That probably one of the event rings is going to have like drop or meso plus a line of intellect, and that'll just be your damage ring and your drop rate ring for now, which is fine. It'll still be an upgrade compared to your current situation, so it'll be fine.
Okay.
So that'll be your 8th ring. What were we talking about before then? Using the cubes, yeah. So the red cubes are mainly very useful for just re-rolling things that's already legendary, and that's gonna have that's gonna be the perfect situation for it now. And then the black cubes I would hold to tier things up during the DMT. One thing I just noticed, we don't have a second earring. Do you have any earring that you could get for drop rate or meso so that we can re-roll the current one for damage?
No, I destroyed my DS Sidus earring.
Okay, okay. So do you have any reinforced earrings?
No.
Okay. Oh yeah, okay, because you also mentioned that. Have you tried Gollux and Helix at all? Because you have the pieces,
I've
but...
tried hard Gollux.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't tried Helix yet.
Yeah, okay. And how is hard Gollux? Do you feel like that's very doable, or is that one still a little bit dicey?
It's very doable.
Very doable, okay. Yeah, because Helix is like that coin income is important, but also one of the main later sources. And again, we're going back to the same thing. Like, so with the Dominator rings and with the Kana treasure rings, the other item that we want to stock up on is reinforced earrings. And the reason for these 3 items, and then the 4th item that you want to stock up on is either reinforced belts or pink bean belts, is because these will be Star Force fodder into their superior counterparts. So because they're so expensive, we don't want to have to buy backups right from the shop. So for earrings, we'll get reinforced earrings. For the rings, we'll get the Kana treasure rings, or maybe the Meisters, depending on your resources, because they're both level 140 rings. And for the pendant, we'll get the Dominator pendants. So that's why you need a lot of Dominators. You need one to transpose, and you also need one to get high Star Force and Transfer Hammer. And then for the belt, we'll get either reinforced or the pink bean belts. So basically the stage after this, when you're Star Forcing past 17, the easy first things to Star Force past 17 is CRA gear, right? Because you have a lot of backups from doing CRA for a while, so that's very low risk. And then the second big thing that you do after that is you get the level 140 equips that we just talked about, that fodder. Hopefully by that time you have gathered a lot of them, and then you can just try to push those to all the way to 21 stars, and then transfer hammer into the superior to get 20 star superior, and then just redo the potential. So for these pieces, ideally you don't go too hard on the potential. If you get like, you know, like 12%, 15%, up to like 18% or something, or 21%, you know, that's usually fine. You don't want to push too hard because you're going to be redoing it later, right? The other pieces where you want to push harder on the Star Force is, on the potential, is the pieces that you will be keeping longer. Yeah, so in this stage, it's more about like, you know, setting that drop in that meso stuff, getting everything up to 17, and start building up backups. And then the main thing is going to be just piling on money and backups. And then when 30% hits, that's when you go hard. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You stay where you are. If it does work, you transfer hammer over, or you get higher, you know, first higher star for CRA, right? And then you have more time to build up the narrows, build up backups. And then if you have a bunch of backups, usually the easiest thing to do is the belts, right? Because the pink bean belts, you can get a lot of them very easily. And then if you run out of money, that's cool. You just get more backups, You can do rings next time, all right? You do rings the next event. Maybe you have money left over. You have a bunch of reinforced earrings. Maybe you can do earrings that time, right? And you just find wherever you have the most backups, wherever it's the lowest risk of losing your money without an upgrade, and that's where you spend most. And that's when the stuff is like 20 star or 21 star, you know, depending on where you want to end up at, that's when you can go way harder on the potential, because at that point, you know, I'm going to keep this item for a long time, and I'm not going to be transfer hammering over and destroying the potential later on. So now you can invest more in the potential.
Okay.
Yeah, so in the beginning it's more potential, right? Then it's way more Star Force, and then it's potential again later, and then finally it's flames, basically, is how you how you like prioritize where to spend your money, kind of. And you link to me that whole list, right? So if you look in that list of like upgrading and what the costs are, that's like generally that priority. Okay, so we need to make an extra earring. Honestly, it could be a Diacitus earrings. That wouldn't be too bad. Or reinforced isn't really that good by itself, honestly. So if it's just a Diacitus earring, it's probably fine because it can get flame advantage, and it'll have some set bonus with the other pieces that we're going to be equipping, right? Because probably the Silver Blossom ring is going to be in there, the cup is going to be in there. I think you don't have a potential badge, right? You have a Crystal Ventus.
Yeah.
And then the oh, we haven't done pendants yet either, right? You need to get drop rate pendants. Do you have any other pendants than these two? You don't have another Dominator. Any like Horntail? Solid? Mm-hmm. Any Mechanator and Horntail pendants maybe? Mechanator is a good one because it has flame advantage and it's part of the set bonus as well.
I don't have a Mechanator.
Okay, but that should be pretty... Oh yeah, of course you don't, because you didn't do Arc, yeah. But Mechanator has a super high drop rate from Arc, so you'll also get that one from Arc. That's going to be fine. That's going to be easy. So Silent Crusade Prequest up to Arc, and then Mechanator drops like pretty much every day, and then Dominator is more dicey. Some people get one like on the second or third day. Other people need to wait like a month of running. You know, so it's one of those dailies that's good to start early on, so that if you have bad luck, it doesn't set back your entire progress. Because basically you're trying to bet on all the different horses, right? You're trying to bet on the ring for Princess Snow. You're trying to bet on the pendant for Arcarium, so that if one of two of them fall through, which they will, you still have the other things to make progress on, and then you can push harder on those and make progress there. But if you don't do any of them, the only thing you're going to be able to progress on is like CRA, and that's only if you kill CRA every week. And if you don't get any backups, you're basically always going to be stuck at 17 star everything, because that's the highest you can safeguard, or you have to like YOLO, and then if something goes wrong, you're like fucked. So you want to be able to have like something to fall back on, and you want to have that cushion, and you do that with getting backups, so with doing the bosses. So yeah, Mechanator would be good. And then temporarily you could use a Horntail Pendant if you want to. But you could use... Is the Solid already upgraded in any way? Is it like Epic, Starforce, or...
It's Epic 11 stars.
Okay, yeah. So you can probably use a Solid. Use a Solid and get a Mechanator. And those can be your drop or Mezzo pendants. So until you have those at Legendary and they have drop and Mezzo, you would keep your current pendant, right? And keep the drop rate there.
Okay.
And then until you make the earring, you would keep your superior earring like this. But then once you have, you know, the other earrings filling the set, then you can start switching over. So always try to go back to 5 Mezzo, 4 drop, and keep that in the back of your head. So the first item of reroll is the eye accessory. Okay, try to get some drop or Mezzo on there. If it rolls Mezzo, reroll one of the rings that has Mezzo and try to get drop and intellect on that. If it's just drop, that's okay too. That's already one line gained. And then the second thing, the second thing I roll is probably the other. We got 5 legendary. One of the rings now can be rolled for damage, right? And then the Silver Blossom can take the role of the Drop or Mezzo ring. So do the Silver Blossom, try to get Drop or Mezzo there. And then try to get some int on the Reinforced and a little bit more int on the Superior. And that'll be a good basis. And then try to work on the other pieces that we're going to add into him. And then once those are legendary and they have Drop and Mezzo, then you can reroll your Superior. And then the two different sets will become more apparent. Not the Blossom, but we roll the Blossom because it's already legendary. So we want to be able to capitalize on that big investment. Get the Noble Epheos for the extra 5-star. No, don't even joke about that. So there should be new 5s and 15s coming. So if the 30% off comes, there could be a time to get some of the items that aren't 15 yet up to 15, right? So like the Reinforced Ring and the Sweetwater accessories, I guess, mainly. Everything else I think is pretty much set, right? Oh, and the cape. Yeah, the cape is at 12. But other than that, we're good. Yeah. And I guess the cape would be... I don't think you're probably missing out on that much damage. I guess the other thing you could do is with some leftover red cubes is work on the shoulder. See if you can get some more intellect on there. Ideally like the same as the shoe, right? That would be cool. Something like that. Either 23 or 20% at least, right? And I guess you can keep the cape until DMT and then try to get it up to legendary as well. See if that will work. But yeah, I would keep the pants like this. Top seems fine. Flame is nice. Too bad the flame on the pants is 60 luck. If that was 60 intellect, that would be way nicer. Or the 40, yeah. Of course, the lowest number is the number that you want. Magic attack and all stat. Yeah, the flames are pretty nice on the CRA. That's good stuff. 100 intellect on the shoe. 40 and 5. 70. Yeah, I guess the flame cape could be a little better. If you're flaming anything, I guess... because your cup was also pretty nice. Honestly, at this point, if you get flames, I would probably use it on either the Mechanator pendant or whatever earring you're getting, just to get some stats out of those.
Okay.
Because they can probably very easily get up to like 50 or 60 flame score, and that's probably something that we do want to, you know, that we do want to use, so that, because going into Moonbridge, those monsters are pretty strong, especially if you're going into VC3. That's the highest level monsters in Moonbridge, and if you want to start killing there quickly, you are going to need a little bit of a boost of damage in the beginning, because the level difference penalty is kind of going to hurt you in the beginning.
Okay. So should I only upgrade the emblem to 2 lines of magic attack after I get the 15% IAD familiars?
Yeah, that's what I would do. Yeah, I think if you do it now, I think your ID is still okay if you do it now, but I would just wait, because there's no rush and there's other projects to work on with your money. So I would work on sorting out the accessories first, because that way you can make your money back faster, and then you can use that money to work on the emblem once you have the IED. That makes more sense, I think, on like an order scale. You got some good groundwork with like legendary stuff. As you said, the potentials on the accessories are pretty bad, so that's definitely where you want to get all the cubes. That's where you can get so many gains, but they're already legendary, so it should be pretty cheap to get some really good stuff, some really good upgrades there with the red cubes.
Okay.
Yeah, and your flames overall are really good actually. The only, like, the worst flame is your cape, and that one is 70. Yeah, that one is already 70, so I would probably just use a little bit of the flames if you get them from bossing on the boss accessory pieces that are filling, so like the Acidus earring, and then the Machinator pendant, to try to get okay flame on those. And other than that, I think other than that, I guess I would work on the cape, because that's like the next lowest one, right? I don't really want to work on the superior, because the chance of getting something good there is so bad.
Okay.
Yeah, and then, so when all of that is done, you know, you want to keep an eye out for Star Force events to get everything up to 17. And then I guess you want to slowly 2-line intellect everything, right? So specifically the superior stuff. So like the belt, try to go for 2-line on that. And then the earring and the pendant once the other pieces fit the goals. And then on the Sweetwater pendant once you do the transposing. And then on the monocle for damage, and on the second tattoo for damage, right? Try to all get those to 2-line intellect. And then the main thing is just going to be sitting on your money and waiting for the next 5, 10, 15, and doing the things that we talked about, right? With CRA first, and then whichever accessories you have the most backups of, and then start transfer hammering into the superior stuff. And once the CRA stuff is like 21, and you're working on trying to transfer hammer into the superior stuff, by that time you're probably going to have so much experience already with Lucid. That's when you're going to be moving into like hard Lucid runs, like closer to level 250, that kind of stuff. And then you can do normal will.
Should I get everything to 18 stars first, or get one item to 22 stars?
Yeah, so purely like efficiency wise on your mesos, like getting everything to 18 first and then everything to 19, right? That's always like most efficient meso wise. Purely from a number crunching perspective. But the thing is, like the backups is the major thing, because if something blows up and you can't replace it, or you spend all your money replacing one piece, that kind of, yeah, that theory kind of implies or kind of presumes that every single piece is equally replaceable, which it's not. So when it comes down to doing CRA, I think it's good to do 1 star at a time, but like within CRA. So like, okay, you have a bunch of money, you have backups. I'm going to do CRA this star. I'm going to get all of them to 18, then all of them to 19, then all of them to 20. And basically the reason that you do that, because if you try to get one piece at a time to 21, and you get unlucky with your first piece, and you get like stuck on 12 or something, then you basically just lost 5 stars and all of your money, and that's horrible. That's like mentally, that's just really bad. But if you have a decent amount of money, you'll definitely get at least 1 or 2 of them to 18. And then if you get really unlucky on the third one, at least you gain those 2 stars, and those will compensate more than the loss of those 5 stars. So even though you still lost all your money, you also didn't lose all of your stars. So you at least you broke even there. But CRA has so many backups and everything, and it's decently doable with not too much money to get like everything to 18 or everything to 19. And then, yeah, you're going to get stuck on one piece. That's inevitably going to happen. But I would do like 1 star at a time with that, yeah. Unless you're just like, I have 80 bill or something, then it doesn't matter, right? You're going to get there either way. So then however you do it, you're good. You're familiar with the calculators where you can check how much it's roughly going to cost?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can always use that to have like some kind of idea of like, do I need to be careful or can I just like send and I should be fine? And then if you're sending and you get super unlucky, then you can still always revert back to, okay, this is getting really bad. I'm going to start spreading over the characters again first to make sure I can make some gains.
Okay.
Sorry, you were starting to ask something, but I interrupted you. Was it about the amount of stars to go for, or?
Oh no.
Yeah, so I guess, is there any equipped piece that you see, or you're wondering where to go with it, or any other question, I guess, that you may still have? I don't know if you had like a list of questions. I don't know if we addressed everything.
Let me check.
Your invulnerability is pretty good. Wouldn't touch that for a while. You don't need attack speed +1 anymore, right? To hit.
No, I don't think so. What's the best Legion layout for Ursus?
Oh, honestly, I don't care. Ursus is like so.
Okay.
You can do enough damage to get your rank so easily. I don't think it's something that you need to worry about because, yeah, the calculations in Ursus are way off. But I don't think. Yeah, I don't think anyone is even spending their time trying to figure out how that works exactly, because I think your IED doesn't really go through, and then not all of your boss damage does, but then some people gain like a huge amount of stats, so you still do more damage. It doesn't really matter. Like, as long as you get at least like 3 or 4 build damage in, which you definitely do, then you're like in the running to get your ranks. It's mainly like, if you're trying to get higher ranks, it's not so much about the damage you do, but it's about getting reses, dodging attacks, and catching people that get thrown up in the air. That's where you get the most of the extra points.
Okay.
So that's mostly what you want to focus on.
What about for Culvert GPQ?
Same thing, like Legion board optimization, or just like in general strategy for that?
Legion optimization.
You basically use the same thing you would do for the hardest bosses. The stronger you get, the more efficient that's going to be. So the lower culverts have pretty low PDR, so IED wouldn't be as necessary, but the lower ones die very quickly, right? You probably kill the first 2 like instantly, and then the third one is there for a little bit, and then you're mostly on the fourth one, I think. So like they basically gain 50% PDR per boss. So it's like 50, 100, 150. So you're mostly attacking the one with like 150 and 200% PDR. So that's like on the level of Vellum basically. So you want to have decent amount of IED there. And then if you get to the next one, that's 250 and then 300% PDR. So that's on the level of Helix is 250, and then 300 is like on the level of Lotus and Damien. So basically whatever your Legion setup now is pretty much optimized enough for Culvert as well.
Okay.
So no worries there. I guess, yeah, and if you have enough crit and you gain anything, you're just bleeding it into boss damage at this point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a lot of Legion coins. Yeah, I assume that you've been diligently working on the Legion. Do you use your Legion buffs quite a bit? I guess you're not doing full totems, right? So you're at a surplus for coins.
Yeah.
So the way that I used a lot of my coins was when I was leveling the characters themselves individually and not waiting for bonks. There's a lot of those pink potions that you can buy that are pretty expensive, but if you have enough Legion coins, it's kind of cheap, I guess. That gives you almost like half a level plus half an hour of 2x, which is pretty good value, honestly, compared to the level up potions. And that's an easy way to like power level characters up to 200 if you're like serious about getting to 8,000 for 8k Legion.
Okay.
That's something that you could do because you do have quite a lot of Legion coins, and it doesn't seem like you're going to run out anytime soon.
Yeah. What's the best Legion layout for leveling?
So specifically on this character or in general? Or both, I guess.
or both?
So I guess because so yeah, so you basically have the same priority list as you do for your hyperstats, right? So critical rate very important, critical damage very important, enough arcane power that's not in the grid, okay, so you can skip that one. And then it comes down to EXP if you're mobbing and damage to normal monsters, right, for your hyperstats. And I guess we didn't really talk about that, but do you have 2 hyperstat setups as well? One for mobbing, one for boss?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that's what you prioritize for that one, right? Like check arcane power if you have enough, and then EXP and damage to normal monsters.
Okay.
And then basically when you're bossing, you switch those 2 out for IED and bossing in that order. As like the order of priorities. So for you, what the ideal setup would be on the right side, right, where we have that pirate piece, to try to go straight up to touch bonus EXP, and then move all of the IED pieces into bonus EXP for this character. That would be your ideal setup, because losing all the IED doesn't lose you any damage when you're mobbing, but the bonus EXP will give you some extra EXP. It's only 10% for the full grid, but it's still 10%. And then on other characters, it would be the same priority. So if they have enough crit, you can use the exact same setup. If they need more crit, I would take whatever the crit they need out of bonus EXP and put it into crit rate to hit 100%.
Okay.
And I guess technically you would put the bar in the middle 1 hex higher, right? So it goes straight into crit rate and not into boss damage. So you gain like 1 spot there, you know, for min-maxing purposes. Which, when you're just at 6k or at 6.5, is still kind of important. But once you have 8k, it's like, you know, you don't give a shit, because you can put so many extra pieces in, right? That's why 8k is so worth it. And all the pieces are bigger as well. You get all those level 200 pieces in there. You get way more coverage.
Yeah. What are the best link skills for leveling?
I guess we went over some of them, right? So again, it's like same priority. You want to make sure you have enough crit rate, right? And then crit damage, and then EXP. So all of that in that order. That gets us, depending on the character, that's either like Kinesis, and then the 3 leveling ones. So that's either 4 or 7, right? If you need all of the crit damage, all the crit rate ones, like the Archer and the Beast Tamer and the Phantom included. So it's anywhere from 4 to 7. And then after that, it's basically, if you look at the Legion Links grid, it's basically all of the flat damage ones. So it's going to be things like the Kana, the Arc, the Demon Avenger, the Ilium for mobbing, right? Because you're moving around typically. If you're standing still, then you skip the Ilium. The Lara, the Hoyoung, if you can one-shot with it. The Hoyoung is a little bit dicey. I feel like I'm okay with skipping the Hoyoung. But at this point, we added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So we're at 9 to 12 already. So if you need crit, that's basically where you're maxed. If you don't need crit, you can add some extra from like Hoyoung or a lot of stat. So for example, if you have, let's see, if you have, do you have the Jet Link skill roll at all?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because that one's probably rolled for intellect and magic attack, right? And nothing else?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're rolling a mage, you could use the Jet Link skill, for example. If you don't need crit and it's a mage, then you can use that one. Otherwise, you know, considerable ones could be yeah, it could be the Cygnus Knights, or the Pirates, basically, as like a filler for some extra damage, because you're basically looking just everything that increases your range, right? Like damage to normal monsters. That's the priority you're looking for.
Yeah.
Kane pretty good. Kane can be a fill, but it has downtime, so I don't like it for mobbing. I like to have your damage for mobbing always be increased, like with 100% uptime, so that you can do steady rotations in the map. The other thing, I guess, as an extra tip for you and for anyone else, if you're training, if you're in a guild and you have access to guild skills, and you're like not able to one-shot, or like, you know, you're like two-shotting but you could be close, or three-shotting and you could be close, make sure that you use the guild skills for training as well. Rotate between the half-hour skills that you have. Typically the critical damage and the boss and the regular damage ones are maxed, and if you if you rotate between those two, half hour one, half hour the other, you can always have one of the two up and increase the base damage 100% uptime of mobbing by a lot. So make sure you use that if you have access as well.
Okay.
Is Lara 100% uptime? Yes, Lara's 100% uptime. Lasts for 30 seconds and has a 30-second refresh timer that starts like when it goes, when it activates. Yeah. So for mobbing, it's there, and for bossing, it basically does nothing. So it's links, win over familiars, equips. No more equip questions, because I think we're coming up on our hour and a half. Yeah. Anything else on the list, or anything else you can think of?
Not really.
Okay. You know what you're doing with interoperability? I guess you're just holding for a while, right? Until you feel like you're not going to be leveling much more, and then maybe prioritize it for bossing. I just hope that they, on KMS, that they announce like presets for interoperability, and then you can just wait that one out, lock it, and then make a bossing one. That's what I'm still hoping for.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a really solid one for mobbing. The only possible better thing would be, you know, something crazy on the last line. But, I mean, this is even helping on the last line, so that's really nice. Yeah, Prage. We prayed for that one.
Yeah.
Stuff for us.
Thank you very much, Scardor.
Yeah, no worries. I think we got through everything, so I wish you good luck. And I hope you can get that Lucid party going. So make sure if you're not in there yet, check the Discord and give yourself the Lucid role so you can see if some people in there are recruiting. Yeah. All the people in there have signed up, so you can harass them as much as you want. Okay, they can.
Okay.
They should leave if they don't wanna be in a party anymore. But that's specifically for all the people who are looking for boss parties. So that, and yeah, and ask around in the chat whenever you want. That's gonna be the best thing, I think. If you find one person in your guild, one in the chat, one in the Discord, and then if I see it, I yell it out. Maybe one or two more people will show up, and then you can start getting some actual practice in, right? Because, you know, practice mode for easy is one thing, but if you're just locked between golems, you don't really learn too much from that. It's not really a realistic situation.
Yeah.
And do you have access to other battle mages who are maybe a little bit further in the game who know specific battle mage stuff?
No, I don't.
Okay. Do you use Discord a lot or no?
Yeah, I use Discord.
There's a specific battle mage Discord as well, where you can ask some specific questions if you have them for battle mage. That'll be more specifically for boss fights, right? When you're in a certain situation you don't know what to do, or people have certain tips or like upcoming changes for KMS on how that's going to affect you, that can help you with like more the long term deciding a direction for your character to be like, let's say that you're planning to invest heavily in your WSE or something, right? You want to get that perfected WSE that you were looking for, but people say like, oh, there's going to be a change soon where maybe it's going to be better to go for IED instead. Even if that's 6 months away, if it's going to be a very big investment, that's going to be good to get a heads up on. So in my Discord as well, there's a room called Class Discords, and there you have the Discords for all of the individual classes. So you can find the Battle Mage one there and join it. If you're not in it yet, you can probably ask some good questions there.
Okay.
All right, lots of stuff to do, but everything makes sense, right? You feel hopeful?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, I wish you the best of luck, and I'll probably see you around the chat every now and then.
Thank you very much.
All right, good luck. Bye.
Bye.
All right, cool. Yeah, I had to squeeze that one in a little bit later, but you know, I was all rested up because of my nap anyway, so we were able to throw that one in. Yeah, sorry if it was a little bit quiet. I boosted as much as I could on my side. Hopefully the audio wasn't too bad. But yeah, thanks for watching, I guess. I did draw the winners for November. Those people have been messaged. So congrats on those people. And if you would like to win one of the December session giveaways, make sure you leave a comment saying that you would like to win. Yeah, other than that, I hope this session was helpful for some of you. Hope you could hear it. But I guess this is a situation where a lot of people get kind of stuck, because it's good to have a direction here, right? You're like later, like in the mid 240s, you're going to like new areas. It's going to be important. And you know, the accents here were a little bit different. Typically people have like too much, maybe too much damage stuff or too many pieces that are still unique. He already had all the legendaries, but then the potential in legendaries weren't as good. But he did have the red cubes from the sale, so we put those two together. I think it'll make a lot of gains really quickly there. Yeah, but if you're looking for boss parties, make sure you join the Discord. Make sure you ask around in the chat. If I see anyone in my chat asking for parties, for boss parties, or trying to fill up parties, right? Not asking for parties as in looking for a carry, fuck that. But if you're looking for struggle parties, if you're looking for fills for parties, make sure you ask in my chat. There's, you know, whenever I'm live, there's always a lot of people in there. And if I see it, I make sure to mention it as well, so people who are maybe lurking, who aren't reading the chat, can hear it as well. It takes some effort from you to like find those people. So I try to, you know, amplify that message and to help you find that, because it's not always easy for sure finding each other. But you know, any reboot, it's got a lot of active people, so hopefully people in their second or third character. And I mentioned that as well, I think last time, because of the black beans, some people are probably more likely to do like easy Lucid or even normal Lucid on like second or third or fourth characters, just to dip a little bit more into those black beans for the current event. So that could be a good a thing to use as a jumping board to get enough people to show up for these boss fights. As always, if you need these pieces of information, all of this can be found through my chat. So you use the commands, !, and then whatever you're looking for. And there will, if I'm live, there will always be someone there who will help you find what you're looking for. If I'm not live and there's no one here, you can always use ! commands. That gives you a list of all of the commands that are available. So you'll be very easily able to find what you're looking for information on. And as always, if you have any questions, you can wait when I'm live or comment on a YouTube video for clarification. I'm still able to read all of my YouTube comments and reply on all of those that require replying. So yeah, so don't be afraid to do that. I stream every day, so drop by the Twitch chat if you're interested in that. And I will see you maybe in the next session if you want one. Check the link in the description. Otherwise, just wait your turn and maybe you'll get drawn as a winner. And I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.